stars in order to build civilizations. Everybody is pretty much familiar with what they call the tree of life, right? The tree of life has been mystified to the point that people, kind of skeptical actually about investigating it. But what it is just a blueprint, for your life. Whenever we start projects, we need to know what our objective is, right? What am I doing? And it gives you a sequence. Now, what is the wisest way for me to implement this project right here? Based on what my objective is. Okay, I'm thinking about the way I need to implement it. Therefore, I need to come up with a plan, right? So if I have a plan, it'll be easier for me to follow, my thoughts and what my objective is. Also, being able to understand that there are laws that must be followed. You must follow certain laws. You must be in tune with certain laws. You must know them whenever it comes to your business. Because if you don't, that could be the success or the failure, or ultimately cause you to go to jail because they're serious. Now, am I mentally prepared to take on a task such as this, based on what my objective is? Oftentimes, we think we're mentally prepared, then we're put in a position to where we have to be accountable, we have to ask certain questions, we have to be receptive for certain information, and once again, whenever we understand what our why is, we have to find a way. That's where that mental, focus come in at. Now, here we come to being able to make the proper choices. Not making choices based on my emotions, not making choices based on this is a like or a dislike, but making choices based on this is the right thing to do. Right here, I'm the leader of this project. I have to know what I'm going to do. Notice, you got these right here. They're actually triads. You have an administrator, you have to be able to enforce, and you have to understand the law. And one thing about law is if you're in tune with it, you'll be protected based on the choices you make. But if you make crazy choices, you just, lost your protection of the law. All right, now we come down to our vision. A lot of times people visualize before they even really have an objective. And so being that we tap into what they call the right hemisphere of our brain, that's where your creativity come in at. So I'm visualizing, I'm seeing it, I'm seeing the colors, all of these things that I'm going to need. So now we move to the materials that we're going to need. This is where the logical side and the left side of the brain come in at, the intellect. I'm thinking now, okay, the diameter, what I'm going to need, where I'm going to put it at, all of those variables. Now we have to revise our plan and we have to be receptive before we move down to the time to work part. Now, if you start here, okay, before I work, I really need to understand what the plan is. What are the schematics that come along with the plan? What do I envision it looking like? Okay, can I really, at the state that I'm in right now, handle a plan such as this based on my mental focus, based on me understanding the law, going back to my plan? How do I really think about this project? Will I need somebody to consult me on this project? Going back to my objective, and ultimately, what is my state of mind? They say an agitated mind can't do anything but be more agitated. And that's what happens with a lot of us. Now, the reason why I call it the ultimate life app, we talking business now. Now, what about something that may be going on with your child? What is the wisest way to approach it? Do I have a plan? There's certain laws that I deal with my children with, right? Okay, now, am I mentally prepared to deal with my child based on what I think they have done and they haven't done? And a lot of times, when we're angry, what we do? We ready to chastise. But is that really the best way to deal with your child whenever you're angry? Because they may be getting something that you meant for somebody else to get. Okay, so now it's going to be based on our choices. I always have to be in control. Always have to be in control. Now I visualize a certain way to handle this, to bring about it. But now this is where something important come in. How do I communicate with my child? What is my communication style? Am I passive? Am I aggressive? Am I passive aggressive or am I assertive? And they say we should always strive to be assertive. Assertive means that I'm going to say what I need to say, but I'm going to say it in a respectful manner. Now, ultimately, how do I nurture my children? You know, am I loving? Do I give them like the soft side of love? And then whenever I have to, you know, be a little bit more stern. And what kind of environment do I have my children living in? Going back up, my wife, my business, my environment, my community. All of those are the objective. So that's why I say it's the ultimate life app, because I can put any subject there. And it's always going to come down to how do I deal with this? How do I think about it? What is the best possible way to bring about a resolution? Now, my plan. There's certain laws that we govern ourselves by. There's certain ways that we communicate with people. And I can start at any one of these, you know, circles right here. Okay, how do I envision the relationship going? Okay, what are the laws that I want to be in this relationship? What choices do we make? But notice the parable of this right here, this is at the top, but everything else is connected to it. That's where the unity come in at. You have some people who have a unity problem because they're disunified within themselves. And oftentimes people are disunified because they are ignorant to who they really are. Oftentimes we deal with personality and we don't deal with our true self. We create these characters, and when we create these characters, what does it end up being? A debacle. Because it's like the character gets you in trouble. And then people say, well, he's a bad person. Nah, he's a good person. He was just doing some bad things. And notice this right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you got self, you got person, and you got a choice to make. I can be my true self, or I can buy into this personality. And to make it, you know, to correlate it to the biblical sense, you say, look, I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. Because if I'm dealing with my higher self, that means I'm going to control everything else, you know, beyond. So like I said, you know, this is like the ultimate life app. And if you like understand the sequence of it, you can start anywhere. And it will help you with whatever it is that you're dealing with in life.